in the NFL draft.
Hey, make us lunch. We're hungry.
Yo, everybody, how you doing? King Ding back here. Now you ready? It's time for the big match, the fight of the century. I know Eagle fans are ready. I know Atlanta Falcons fans are ready. I'm ready. You ready? Let's get this thing going. It's time to brawl. The Atlanta Falcons come into Philly, the 6th seed, favorites to beat the #1 seed Philadelphia Eagles in the divisional round of the playoffs. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It is true. It is true. The Eagles are the underdogs, the #1 seed to play the 6th seed at home. They're the underdogs. It's unbelievable. Now, I'm a nice guy. I'm usually like, yo, how you doing, right? Yeah, you good? All right, I'm good too. Yeah, can I help you? But two things over the last month have pissed me off so much. The first thing is Luke Skywalker running around the universe naked somewhere. Totally ridiculous what they did. Totally pissed me off. The second thing, the disrespect that the Philadelphia Eagles have had this week leading up to this game. Now, I'm pissed about it. I'm frustrated about it. And part of it is the Eagles' fault. Nick Foles has stunk so bad over the last few weeks that people have totally disrespected, totally turned their back on this team. It pisses me off. I gotta tell you, I'm really offended and pissed off the way the Eagles have been treated. And I hope that this team is feeling that too. Because if they're feeling as disrespected as their fans are feeling, they're gonna come out ready to knock people's heads off. I'm telling you, I've been taking a lot of this week, a lot of aspirin for my headache. Okay? Totally ridiculous, totally disrespected. But hey, time to play the game. So, we're going to play it. Eagles, Falcons, Saturday. Don't matter who's disrespected who has said what. They're going to play. Let the best team win. Now, I said that I think this is a more favorable matchup and a break for the Eagles than playing in New Orleans Saints. I believe that to be true. I think there are things that the Eagles can take advantage of when it comes to the Atlanta Falcons. So, when we look at Atlanta, especially on offense, you got Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan, great quarterback, MVP last year, took his team to the Super Bowl, real close. He's got tons of weapons, right? He's got Julio Jones, Sanu, Austin Hooper, Devontae Freeman, Tevin Coleman. He's got a lot of guys. No doubt about it. They are a good team. You get guys like Julio Jones, who, yes, I think the Eagles did a good job the year before, but I expect him to get to go off and do what he does. But that doesn't mean the Eagles can't limit the other guys and can't do other things that will put their defense in a, good position to win. So, they got Matt Ryan, they got Julio Jones, they got all these guys. They like to run the ball with Devontae Freeman, Tevin Coleman, and hey, it looks good, right? Well, here's the thing. The Eagles, their defensive line, especially Timmy Jernigan, Fletcher Cox, that interior is the best defense against the run. I think they gave up 79.2 yards a game, something like that rushing. But they were #1 against the run, and I think that the Eagles can shut down the Atlanta Falcons run game. I think that is not a stretch to say that. I think they can do that. And if they do, then they'll be able to tee off on Matt Ryan. And if they can get Matt Ryan in positions where he has to go 3rd and long, and they can get pressure on him and knock him around, he will make mistakes, and this will benefit the Eagles. And I think this plays right into the Eagles' hands. I think that the defensive line, I think the pressure they can get on the quarterback and stopping the run is going to help them tremendously against the Falcons. I look for Jernigan, Cox. I look for those guys to have a big game. Okay? So, I see that as being an advantage to the Eagles. Now, if you're the Atlanta Falcons, I think the one advantage that they could take, well, of course they got the receivers. I think both receivers have good matchups. Jalen Mills, let's face it, hasn't played that great the last few weeks, biting on the double move all the time. You got Ronald Darby, who has made big mistakes even though he seems to make a big turnover when it counts at the end of games. But I think that the Falcons receivers will have an advantage over the Eagles. One thing that I would worry about, besides you having to worry about Julio Jones and Sanu, because you have to worry about them. But one thing that I do worry about is the Eagles linebacker. I think the Eagles are thin at linebacker, and with Michael Kendricks in pass coverage, it's hurt us a lot. So if Atlanta came out and they started throwing to the running backs, that would scare me. You know, going to Austin Hooper a lot. There may be plays for him. There may be plays for those running backs to catch out of backfield. That scares me a lot. And that's one of the things that really scares me about the New Orleans Saints. But when you look at the Atlanta Falcons, you look and you see Devontae Freeman, 36 catches this past season, 317 yards. Tevin Coleman, 27 catches, 299 yards. So they don't do a lot of that. So I don't know how much they're going to do against the Eagles. I think if they did, I think that could hurt the Eagles. Because I think the Eagles have a problem with running backs who can catch out of the backfield. So that's one way that I think Atlanta would worry me if they did that a lot. But I love the Eagles' defensive line. I love their matchup against the Atlanta Falcons' offensive line, against the run game, especially that interior. And I think the Eagles can get pressure on Matt Ryan. So now you see what I like for the Eagles on defense, the matchups I like on defense. Now I want to talk about the offense. Now to me, it's all about Nick Foles. This is going to come down to, can Nick Foles play decent? He doesn't have to be great or spectacular, but he has to be decent. He has to be a lot better than he was the last few weeks, because the last few weeks he stinks. Stinks. And we can't have that. We can't have that. And I don't believe Foles is that bad of a quarterback. I really don't. I don't think he's the 2013, 27-2. I don't think he's that guy either. I think he's a above average quarterback who can get the job done. If he can get in a rhythm, if you can use him right, I think he can be effective. And that's the thing. Doug Peterson has to adjust his game plan. He cannot say, we're going to do the same things that we did when we had Wentz. If he does that, we're in trouble. I think that's been part of the problem with Foles too. He has to go and he has to look at what Foles does well and take advantage of it, okay? Now, you're playing a good Atlanta defense, in my opinion, an opportunistic Atlanta defense, a fast Atlanta defense, okay? They got guys that I like. Deion Jones, I love that kid. Keanu Neal, Desmond Trufant, Vic Beasley. They got guys on this team that can play. Okay, those are guys that can play. So you gotta be smart. You can't turn over the ball. And Foles is gonna have to deliver when it calls for it. I don't think you can have Foles throw 40 passes, something like that. The Eagles are gonna have to rely on Jay Ajayi and Corey Clement. To me, those are your main guys. You gotta use them right. Now, if you're Atlanta, your game plan most likely is key on the run and force Foles to beat us. So that's what the Eagles are going to have to do. If the Eagles can come out and run the ball, which I think they can. We saw Todd Gurley run the ball great last week against the Falcons. I don't think he got the ball enough. But if the Eagles can run heavy with Ajayi, Clement, even Blunt when it calls for it, I think it'll put Foles in positions where the play action works. He can make certain throws, and that'll be key, because they're gonna stack the box. They're gonna key on the running back. Foles is gonna have to make the throws when the opportunity presents itself. If he can do that, the Eagles got a great chance to win. I would also like to see Corey Clement, Jay Ajayi get some screen passes. I would like to see them throw to the running backs out of the backfield. If the Eagles do these things, they're going to win. Doug has to find what Foles does well. Build this offense, differently than he did with Carson Dornier. He has to call it different. If he doesn't, the Eagles are in trouble. And I think he will. I think they're going to use Ajayi. I think they're going to use Clement. I think they're going to run and wear down the Atlanta Falcons. I think they're going to use a screen, the screens to those guys. I think you're going to see Ertz. I think you're going to see Aguilar in the slot. I think these guys are going to have big games, and those are the guys that I would be throwing the ball to. Now, when they stack the box and that play action starts to work, you can take shots downfield. You can do certain things. Foles hits those and can play just effective and efficient. The Eagles are going to win. And okay, so now it comes to prediction of the final score. Now, don't forget, Friday night, I will be doing a preview of this game live stream where I'll take your questions, we'll talk about the game. And on Saturday, I will be streaming the whole game live. So come join me for the live stream. It'll be fun. It's going to be a blast. But we'll be here doing that. So definitely come hang out with me. That would be great. Now, as far as my final score of this game, I really think the Eagles, with having a bye week and having a chance to get things right and come up with a plan, and having played so bad the last few weeks, will come out ready to play and beat the Atlanta Falcons by a final score of 24-20. It's going to be a close, thrilling game, but in the end, the Eagles will get it done. So I'm taking the Eagles 24-20. I know that's not a surprise to a lot of people because I've kind of been saying that the Eagles will win all week. I stick by that, and I'm excited about it, and we'll see what happens. Now, because I'm a nice guy, because I like all people, and Atlanta Falcon fans especially, I don't want you to be sad and not too upset. It's going to be hard. You're going to not feel too well and all those kind of things. So what I'm going to do is when the Falcons lose, I am going to go ahead and start giving out free aspirin for all Atlanta Falcon fans who need it. Because you're going to have a big headache. Take one, take two, take three, take whatever you need. Take whatever you need, wash it down with water, milk, whatever you want. But here, I will help you get rid of your headache. Because you're going to have a headache because the Eagles are going to win. Don't forget to come get your aspirin and hope that you feel better. But with that said, I think Eagles 24-20 on to the NFC Championship game against the Minnesota Vikings. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. And don't be a dingbat.